had a friend, and she got crabs, and every day at school they would itch.
I had a friend one time, she got gonorrhea by having oral sex.
My friend, she had syphilis.
Syphilis, gonorrhea, crabs, chlamydia, herpes. Nobody wants them, but anyone who is sexually active is at risk for getting an STD.
People say that they don't have STDs, but they're lying about it sometimes because they're so embarrassed.
They'll just say, well, maybe they don't. Maybe they look good, they look clean, then I feel they don't have an STD.
Maybe I have too much faith in people, but I believe that they would be cautious if they knew they had it.
But too often we aren't cautious. The fact is, sexually transmitted diseases are rampant among teenagers in America.
Every 13 seconds, an adolescent is getting an STD.
Some, like gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis, can be treated with antibiotics. But some STDs caused by a virus, like HIV and herpes, infect the person for life. There is no cure. According to CDC estimates, there are 19 million new STD cases reported each year. 19 million new cases, year after year. And half of them are teenagers and young adults.
When we're talking about young people most at risk, we're talking about more vulnerable populations. Also young women, particularly because of the physical characteristics that allow for transmission of STDs more effectively.
In fact, a study from the Kaiser Family Foundation shows 1 in 4 sexually active teenagers will contract an STD. But too often we say, it won't happen to me.
Teens take chances, but that's just more the whole feeling of being invincible and being young.
You don't even think about it, even though you hear about it every day. You don't really think about anything like that unless it really hits home.
It hit home for Sarah during her freshman year in college.
It was not something that I thought I would ever have to worry about. The only time that I've ever even come close to having sex was the one night when I contracted herpes.
Sarah was on a blind date. They had both been drinking at a party.
Things progressed. We started kissing. I told him I didn't want to go any farther.
Sarah and her date did not have sexual intercourse that night, but they did go farther.
Well, oral sex was exchanged both ways, and that was basically it. That's how I got it. I have HSV type 1, and I have a genital E.
HSV, herpes, clusters of painful blisters in the genital area that can be treated, but not cured. She told her mom about the symptoms, not knowing what was wrong. Neither of them believed it could be an STD.
Since she hadn't completely had intercourse, we didn't really think there would still be a problem.
I thought, you know, as long as I don't sleep around and I abstain until I'm married, like, I thought I'd be fine.
It's a common mistake.
Oral sex on a male with a latex barrier. Is that no risk?
No risk.
Some risk except
To some teenagers, oral sex is safe sex. To others, it isn't sex at all.
Where I live, oral sex is viewed as casual.
You know, it's not going, oral sex is not going all the way.
In the early 1980s, 1/5 of teenagers surveyed said they had engaged in oral sex. Today, informal surveys suggest more than half have tried it.
So when the group has lowered the threshold that it's okay to have intimate oral genital contact, while everybody else is doing it, well, then it becomes somehow more socially acceptable and the risk is downplayed.
But as Sarah knows, the risks are real. Herpes is just one of them. In a recent study, the Centers for Disease Control found almost 8% of AIDS patients contracted HIV through oral sex. And yet, the risk is often ignored.
As a little girl, you're told, you know, keep your virginity, wait until you're married, you know, treasure that. You can only lose your virginity once, but there's no oral sex virginity.
For Sarah, one mistake changed her life.
It can bring you to suicidal thoughts. It can make you want to hurt yourself because you're dirty now.
Many young women that I've taken care of feel that they're somehow contaminated, and I find that giving that diagnosis to someone is very heartbreaking.
I just can't take it away. You know, you're always able to put the Band-Aid on the hurt, and it'll go away in a little bit. But I can't put a Band-Aid on this.
If I didn't have to live with this mistake forever, I think it would be a big difference, and I think it would be a difference for a lot of people. No one wants to have a disease forever, and no one wants to face these things forever. And if they could take it away, I'd do anything for it.